Hi, this is Jeff Muir, Director of Business Development and Client Relations at Beal Properties, and I'm here to share a short video with you today to look at the question, what could go wrong? And also, this addresses a topic that we do talk about a lot here, client expectations, wanting there to be a good fit between the services that we offer and someone's expectations of what we'll be doing as property manager. There's all kinds of different scenarios, all types of different properties, owners, property management companies, and it's always our goal that we communicate clearly up front about what we do, what we don't do, what's possible, what's likely, what's unlikely, so that there's a good fit. So this is based on things that I've seen with my own eyes, been involved with personally, again, in the last week, month, year, and of course, going back in time. So let's jump into this and talk about some of these things. So when it comes to property management, what can go wrong? We know because we go to a lot of real estate investor meetups and things like that. There are a lot of people out there on social media and, on YouTube and the internet world talking about how easy it is, how simple it is to make money and get rich, by buying rental properties. And we're here to say that while we've been successful and lots of people have been successful, it's not quick and it's not easy. There is no formula that is going to guarantee success. We would rather be very upfront with people and make sure, they know what they're getting into than trying to sell someone on a dream that's not realistic. So you can definitely make money and build wealth and, move toward retirement type situation, by having rental properties as part of your overall investment portfolio. But it involves risk, and it involves real risk. We're now in our 20th year in business. We started out with one property. Over those 20 years, we've bought lots of properties that turned out to be terrible investments. So we're not going to, we'll never sit in front of an audience and talk about how we've been perfect. And if you just do these 4 things, everything's going to be great, because that's not true. But if you own many rental properties, your risk is spread out, and the ones that are doing great are going to, cover for the 1 or 2 that are doing horrible. And if you own a certain number of properties, there's always going to be a few dogs in the pack there that just don't ever perform. Expenses just get beyond what's realistic for a given situation. So we want to look at what could possibly go wrong. And I'm really speaking today to someone who is thinking about buying their very first investment property, or owns 1 or 2 things, and they're looking to start building on that. Because we've been hired in 2022 by a couple of hundred first-time, property investors. We've gone on that journey with them of, the inspection, closing, getting some work done on it, showing it, getting tenants in there, and then what can happen after that. And a lot of things can happen after that. So let's look at some of them. Well, the house could catch on fire. I've shown up Sunday at 11 p.m. to a fourplex about a mile from where I'm sitting right now that looked a lot like this. Could be a flood. Notice that this photo is Warren, Michigan, where we manage close to 50 properties. This is 2 years ago, and this is Interstate 94. So flood could happen. Tree could fall. This happens once or twice a month on the whole portfolio that we manage. Could end up with absolutely horrible neighbors, or situation on the block where your property is that somehow you didn't notice when you went to the showing or to look at it before you bought it. If it's a vacant property, depending on where it is, definitely have squatters show up in there. And once that happens, it's a process to get them out. You could have a tenant who had amazing credit, great income, perfect, rental history, and their life could get turned upside down by illness, mental illness, family tragedy, any number of things, and they can end up not being able to pay the rent anymore. And when that happens, you head down the road toward eviction. And in the state of Michigan, that's a long road and it can be an expensive road. And in the meantime, you're not getting any rental income. And if this is your one and only rental property, are you prepared for that? Mold could be discovered. And this, just within the last month, there was a single family home that we managed. There was a pipe burst underneath the house. The tenants did not let us know about this in a timely manner. By the time that we went to take a look at it, mold had started already, and mold abatement is incredibly expensive and disruptive. So that could happen. And then you're going to inevitably have to get a rental license. I'll show a picture of what it looks like. To be able to legally rent, you need to get a rental license, which means passing inspections. Well, what could an inspector do? They could say, hey, you need all new windows. That could be $20,000 or more. They could say you need to completely upgrade your whole electrical system. That could be, $10,000, $20,000. They could say, oh, those are just new shingles. The whole roof needs to be repaired and replaced, though. That could be $20,000. You could have the sewer line fail. You can only snake these things so many times, and then ultimately you have to go in and, dig a trench and do the work. That can be $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, depending on the scenario. So those are some real world things that can and do happen, that really you can't be, you could be prepared for, but you can't know when they're going to happen or if they're going to happen. And once again, if you own fewer than 10 rental properties, one that really has bad luck can just mean you're not making any money and you're having to invest a lot of money, whereas you might have been planning on, some extra income every month. So with that as a background, let's talk a little bit about what property management is and what property management is not. So property management is not insurance against these things. Yes, you'll be better off if you have a professional property manager if and when any of these things happen. But merely hiring a property management company is not going to prevent any of this from happening or necessarily make it less expensive. The end of the day, you need to get a trench dug and the labor out there and the materials. It's going to just cost what it costs. And property management is not 24-hour surveillance. We do a set of specific things, which we'll talk about. But if you're an out-of-state investor or if you live, a few counties away from where your rental property is, the fact that we're hired means that we're going to be in communication and, taking care of the property, but we're not sitting there watching it 24 hours a day. If something happens, there's going to be an amount of time that goes by that, that it takes to address things. So we're not those two things. And we have had people hire us. We've gone through all the conversations, been very clear about what we do and what we don't do. And then when something happens, they've literally said, well, why, I thought you'd be there, right when that happened. And it's just not how it works. It's not realistic. So what is realistic? Well, property management is, marketing the property, screening applicants, showing the property, getting a lease signed, getting someone moved in, then charging and collecting the rent, thoroughly documenting everything, handling maintenance and repairs, and then unit turns, so between tenants. But that's not all free. So let's talk about what the management fee is and what that covers. Typically, management fee is going to be 10% of rent collected. So the management fee covers charging and collecting rent, documenting that, and communication between all the different parties. So if you have a single family home and the rent is $1,000 a month and you're paying a 10% management fee, you're paying $100 a month. So just, spend some time thinking about like how much time is $100 worth? How much of your time is $100 worth? Are your expectations realistic for what you want the property management company to do for that management fee? And is your budget and available cash realistic, considering that any of these scenarios, could happen? Are you prepared? Well, what does the management fee not cover? We talked about what is property management, what is not property management. The management fee itself does not cover the actual marketing, showing, and leasing because between 50 and 100% of the first month's rent for a new tenant, we keep as the marketing and leasing fee. So we do that work. We do it on spec because we do it, planning on renting that property out. But until it's rented and until that tenant pays rent, we don't make anything on it. But that's not covered in the 10% management fee. Maintenance and repairs is not covered. The management of the maintenance and repairs is covered, but the actual time it takes a person to get in a van and drive to a store and buy a part and then drive to a property and do the work, that's extra cost to you. The materials are not covered in the management fee. Government compliance is not covered in the management fee. There could be hundreds of dollars worth of application fees for inspections, and for applications for rental registrations. Sometimes just due to the timing of labor, materials, scheduling, real life flat tires, things get missed. There could be fines. Those are not covered by the management fee. Those are things you need to be prepared to pay for, depending on what goes on with your property. So how we want to, what we want to convey here is if you have fewer than 10 rental properties, and that's kind of an arbitrary number, but it's based on experience, and your margins are thin, one bad property can really mean blowing up your whole plan for the year as far as making money. And I've just seen it more times than I care to remember when it's a newer investor and they have this plan that they maybe bought off the internet or maybe gotten a book, and they have these formulas and they're going to make X amount a month. But for that to happen, nothing can go wrong. It has to get rented right away at top dollar, never have a late rent payment, never have anything go wrong with the house. That's not realistic. That can happen, but the chances of you getting that right out of the gate and having that for every one of your properties is really unlikely. If you have only one rental or buying your very first rental, you just need to be prepared for the big picture and to spend money that first year or two on any number of potential things that could happen that aren't in that plan, that aren't in that get rich quick, seminar that you went to. And we, as a professional property management company, want to be very upfront with people. There's different kinds of property management companies and properties and scenarios. And we want to work with people where we're going to be a great fit and they know exactly what we do and don't do and what to expect. And the communication flows from that understanding. So we can and we do manage all types of properties, residential, commercial, retail, industrial. We manage single properties for single investors. We manage portfolios, in the hundreds. We will manage anything, but we are not going to be exactly what everyone has in mind, when they go to hire a property manager. And so that's where we want the conversation to start. So talk to us if you have properties that you just bought and you're looking for property management for, or you've had under different property management and you're wondering if, things could go a little bit better with a change there. Send an email to myself or Stuart Beal. Let us know what your portfolio's like. Let us know what your challenges have been, and let us know what kinds of things you're looking to be different moving forward. And we'll have a conversation and let you know if we think we can be helpful. So with that, I wish you a happy day, and we do look forward to talking with you and hopefully working with you in the future. Thank you.